Hello again, Libra. So before we begin your reading, I have two cards for you. And what you have here is hopeful, but stressful at the same time. So from Le Vampire, you pulled hope, anticipation, bright prospects, and wish. Now the blessing with this card says that you will soon have hope, which will make whatever is taking place at this moment easier to bear. These hardships are impermanent and tomorrow will be better. Now, looking at that with mysticism from Chakra Wisdom, this card speaks about needing to be the observer and not taking action until you know for certain what is going on. This is like fearing the unknown. So I feel like looking at both of these, you guys are going into a situation that you may not know everything that you need to know at the moment, but hope is saying that, you will be all right. Just don't take any action until you have all the available information first. Here is the energy coming through. So seeing that, and with what you pulled with the oracle cards, it's like, yeah, there may be a situation going on right now that you're trying to get away from because of the conflicts surrounding it. And it's like there's this fear of what is going to be ahead of you. But, again, with hope, it's saying that you're going to have that hope restored to you. And, looking at that with the Six of Swords, it's like moving away from conflicting situations, but carrying hope with you to where you're headed to now. So, you may be headed into like an unknown situation at the moment, but hope being there is saying that it may not be as scary as you think right now. Very nice. So the Nine of Cups, the past coming through. Seeing that to me is saying that, you're carrying this feeling of being emotionally okay. So the Nine of Cups is actually the wish card. And I like seeing it. This is, emotional fulfillment, indulgence, abundance, and more importantly, it's, having your emotions in a very good place. So that's good to see with what's going on here. Oh, future no, I'm sorry. This is the present. I'm already trying to jump ahead. So the Nine of Swords, God, I hate this card. This is all the mental shit that you do to yourself. This is regret. Just, ugh. I hate it. I hate the Nine of Swords. So right now, and I can understand where this fear of the unknown is coming in. It's like, you come in with that feeling of emotionally being okay, but mentally there's a question here about what is going on, and fearing what's ahead of you. And the Nine of Swords, I worry here too because this card is connected with the Three of Swords, which has to do with heartbreak and betrayal. Now, I mention this every time one or the other shows up because it's important. When you look at the image, the person is sitting up in bed, their head in their hands, and their sword shooting through the air, and three of them are shooting through their back and the back of the head. Mental despair, anguish, regret, sleepless nights, crying alone. It's junk. You're focused on the fear in this situation right now. Oh, future conditions, the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles is about poverty and loss. Now, to me, it's almost like there's this worry here. And looking at these two, I kind of worry with that Nine of Cups with the swords surrounding it like that. And then now having the Five of Pentacles. It's almost like maybe the situation that you're moving away from wasn't as emotionally fulfilling as you thought, But looking at the Five of Pentacles, it's like, it's more about the fear of losing than it is actually losing anything. But there's also this feeling of being left out in the cold. And again, it would make sense with, mysticism showing up. There's definitely some fear here about the path that you're headed toward, fear of the unknown, fear of losing. There's these horrible mental thoughts going on right now, and I almost feel like looking at it like the reason why hope is coming to you is because you're having, these horrible thoughts about what's going to happen now. And it's like needing to move away from a situation that truly wasn't as fulfilling as you thought. But, if you do that, what are you going to lose? The best path to follow. Now, this to me is saying that, and I've seen situations like this before where, the person that's involved ends up in the best path to follow. But looking at the Queen of Cups as your best path to follow, this is telling you to be emotionally intuitive, and it goes perfect with mysticism. So, it's definitely telling you that, emotionally you need to tap into your intuition, but more importantly, your emotional intuition about what is going on here. What is it that you're moving away from? And why is there this fear here of moving away from this? But then not only that, but, this was something that I feel like was like a happy home life, but then turned out not to be. It's not what you thought, and you're wanting to move away from it, but, what are you going to lose here? Especially emotionally. So, with the Queen of Cups, again, it's tapping into that emotional intuition. And Libra being an air sign, you guys think so critically about everything, but, your emotions really do have a big part in the decisions that you make. It's just sometimes you have a tendency to neglect them because it makes more sense to think about things critically than emotionally for you. But here it's like you need to tap into that emotional nature. Oh, wow. So the influences around you, looking at the Hangman is telling me that yes, you need to see this situation differently here. So the Hangman is all about being in a limbo and needing to see things in a different perspective. This is clearing out the limiting thoughts and beliefs that may be holding you back right now. And it's like you're wanting to take action here to move away, but there's something that's saying, hey, you really need to take another look at this because maybe what you're feeling here isn't quite rational, And then there's a question too about, when you look at the two, it's like, needing to sit back for a minute and soak up the information that's coming to you before you take action here. Because clearly what's going on is like, maybe you're not seeing it quite right, Your hopes and your fears, and I love seeing that. The Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is the travel card, but, to me, this is about manifestation. The wands have to do with our fire and our passion. And when you look at the Two and the Three of Wands, action is being taken place here to create what you want in your life. And in the Three of Wands, it's like watching the proverbial ship come in. And that's what you're hoping for, is that if you take this action here, that you will start to see the manifestation of the things that you truly want to have in your life, rather than this here. And I don't feel like, that this is a person that's causing this. I really feel like it's telling you to tap into your emotional intuition because, maybe the way that you're thinking about your emotions right now isn't quite right, which is why the Hangman is showing up. There may be a need to see things differently here as far as what you're thinking right now and tap into your emotions instead rather than your conscious mind because your critical thinking is not helping you right now. And the outcome, wow, Libra. The Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia. And this is also about restoring harmony back into your life. Now, looking at it this way, to me, it's almost like there's this need to move away from loss from your past. And maybe, what's going on here is connected with, maybe some hard memories of the past. But, it's like there's still this need to see it differently. And again, this to me is important. Whatever conflict is going on right now, whether it's internally or whatever, the situation you may be dealing with, clearly here you're wanting to move away from it. And, again, it's like you're hoping to see the things that you want manifest if you take the action here. But there's a part of you that's saying, stop. You need to look at what you're feeling emotionally first. Because again, it's like your conscious mind is not helping you at all. And, looking at it this way, to me, it could suggest that there's a need to get out of the thoughts that you may have had involving your past. And remember that hope is saying that things are going to start getting easier for you. But there's definitely some stuff that needs to be taken care of here. It's like you're on the right track with needing to see things differently. And then your hopes and your fears is perfect right where it's at. If that's what you're feeling, if you take this action here. But still, it's like there's this part that's like, wait a minute here. We really need to look at our emotions here. What is it that we're truly wishing for? And again, it's like there's this need to restore harmony in your life when it comes to thoughts of the past. Man, you've got some really complicated stuff going on here, Libra, but, seeing the Six of Cups out of all of this, again, with the Hangman, it's like needing to see it differently. And I feel like that's what you're going to do because, you're in a perfect spot right here. But before you move forward and take the action there, again, there's this whole message of being the observer and waiting to get the information that you need first. And I think what that is needing to see how you're thinking and how your emotions are going differently before you move forward here. Okay, Libra, this one, man, you guys, as a lot of you know, I have a lot of Libra friends that have Libra as their sun. And I know that a lot of them are dealing with conflicting situations right now. And seeing this is like, I'm glad that this is showing up. To me, it's saying that whatever is in front of you now is going to be better than what you thought. But there are some things that you need to take care of first. And when you look at these two here, there is a need to stop for a minute and look at the way that you're feeling and the way that you're thinking about what action you're taking here. Because it's like clearly you're wanting to move away from conflict in your life, but there's fear. And it's causing these thoughts of regret for moving away from what may not be as good as you thought it was, And then, again with these, it's like your conscious mind is not helping you right now. And that's why the Queen is showing up as your best path to follow. And then it's perfect with mysticism. It's saying that, first of all, do not fear the unknown. Do not fear the path that is ahead of you. And here you need to tap into your emotional, intuitive nature because just like everybody else, Libra has that too. You are the critical thinkers. But there is a part of your emotions here that need to be looked at differently. But, out of all of this, you're in a perfect spot. Your focus as far as your hopes and your fears is really good. And again, looking at that with hope is beautiful. It's saying that, you may have a fear right now of where you're headed. And there may be some, issues with the way that you're thinking about why you're moving away from what is not serving you, but you're going to see something so much better than what you're thinking right now. And with you looking at your hopes and your fears as having what you want manifest is perfect, that is where you need to keep your focus when you're moving away from what is conflicting for you. So, and then on top of that, with this being the outcome, to me it's suggesting that you need to restore some harmony back into your life when it comes to the way that you think about your past as well. Maybe you're moving away from something, and maybe this is something that you've done before and it didn't work out so well, but I feel like this time it will, especially with hope showing up. So, remember here, just take a minute to really look at how you're feeling emotionally and how you're thinking before you start to take action. And then remember too, that with hope, things are going to be a lot easier than what you think they are right now.